That opening graphic is just...
Yeah, I found it's definitely a template that I stole. You get to choose the little stick figure guy that's briefly seen, and you can choose from a list of sports. And what shocked me is that none of those choices were marble related. So where's the representation there? But the guy who is dribbling the basketball looks like he's rolling a really big marble, and so I was like, there we go. Yeah, man. So I saw your graphic, your infographic that you put together.
Yes.
And we're gonna cut that in right now.
Ooh!
See that?
Ha-ha!
Pretty good.
You are welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure.
And so let's take a look at that together. We are looking at preseason event number 3 today, the long jump. And walk us through this that you put together.
So, of course, the standings as they currently are, Dairy Dash with 2 great showings in the first 2 events. They haven't won either one, but they've been a podium finisher in the first 2 events. Purity and Grays of Glory have both found themselves with a medal in hand. Or rather, I apologize. Purity, in the same boat as Dairy Dash, has not won an event, but has just done fantastic in the first 2. Grays of Glory was the winner of the funnel spin, and the semi-skimmers, shockingly to say true, were the winners of balancing. Milky Madness and the freshers truly bringing up the rear here, and as I see it, this is the turning point of the event. After this event, we'll be halfway through, so there needs to be a showing right now from Milky Madness and the freshers. We see the order of today's event. The order is the same for all events. I'm sorely realizing how we're going to get down today. But we finally have representatives. We finally have one-off representatives from each team. And I want to ask you, Rob, as you look at the Purity and you look at the Milky Madness, how do you feel going into today's event? And how do you like the selection? How do you like the coach's selection?
Okay, so I want to remark on a few things, and I'm definitely going to answer that question. My answer to that question is I think having Michael for Milky Madness is promising to me. You know, we have a Michael, we have a Mikey, we have a Mike, we have a Michelle, and I think going with the bold, traditional Michael, who really is, you know, you could argue there are variations on that name as we go forward, because even Michelle is not necessarily a female name, or it could be a French male name. So I'm seeing him as this all male, all white, maybe not very popular in this moment, but we have Michael, I think is a good pick for that. And then as far as Team Purity, you know, it's kind of in the same boat. Puro sounds like the most ancient Latin version of the pure that runs rampant through the names on Team Purity. And then I also, you know, of course, not to be left out, the Dairy Dash 4-pint. That's a lot of ice cream. 4 pints is a lot. It's not just a milkshake. It's not a single serving. You know, even if you're a fat ass like me and you love to consume a pint all on your own, 4, that's bringing a lot to the table. So, you know, I like the idea of bringing a lot to the table. So we'll see what happens with that. What about your 3 individual marbles that are going forward?
I'll get to that. I want to bring up 4-pint because in my mind, he is the favorite going into today for this reason, that the long jump today, the event is going to see the marbles start up top, and they are going to fall a great distance. It's going to happen quick. It's going to happen quick, but they shoot down, and they are just quick shot. I mean, the length of time they spend falling versus the length of time they spend getting up, it's just quick. It goes. Today's about density. Today is about having as much mass in as little amount of space as possible because everyone's going to drop the same distance. And from what I've seen in prior events of long jump, these scores are very tight. And the scores, of course, are derived from the initial distance. Think baseball being hit. You don't get your rolls after the fact. You get just when you hit the sand at first. Actually, I shouldn't bring in baseball. It's just a classic track and field long jump event. It's as long as you get into the sand. 4 pint to me,
But it's
is
also like
today's
skiing, the event where they go downhill and then they do that one big jump.
yes,
Right? Because
yeah,
in the long jump in Olympics, I mean, your momentum is your running. But this is them using the inertia of the downward, you know what I mean?
yes.
Coupled with their own abilities.
That is a much more accurate
It's both.
sports
No, it's
reference.
both because it's the sand and
Yeah, that's
where
what made me
you
think
hit.
of the
So it's
right.
definitely both. But I was just kind of adding that in as well because I was thinking as you mentioned luging last round, that this is also has a almost lugy thing, but it's so much more about what's accomplished after the jump. So it's definitely like a long jump. What do you call that in skiing? Is it called a long jump?
I am not actually sure. It stands to reason that's what it is, but
You know what I'm
I
talking
don't
about,
know.
right? They do the fucking they put
Yes,
the
you get as
poles
tight
like
as
this.
possible. You get as little and as short a center of gravity as possible, and then explode as soon as you hit up.
You
And
want
that's
the
what these
weight.
marbles.
You want the weight, but you got to get tight in the air.
Yes,
So
right.
the same for these marbles, even though they're completely unable to adjust their dimensions during the race, but the necessity physically is the same.
Yes, this is a brute force event. As I like my people, I am maybe foolish to doubt semi-skimmers again because we have the Jimmy Timmies and I think Slim just closes his eyes and points at somebody who isn't Sean, and that's who gets to go up and represent the team. On any
Sean,
one
stand
day.
behind me. It's time for me to randomly pick. Sean, get up. Sean, not over there. Get over
Sean,
here.
I'm not kidding. Get behind me.
Eeny, meeny, miny, not Sean, you.
Roman is a mystery to me for the
As
pressures.
are all the freshers, yeah?
Yeah, they truly are just. I want to understand, but I don't right now. And as far as Blazy for Grays of Glory, we know the Grays of Glory are the old folks. I know they would not pick Blazy if he wasn't the most fit dad bod you've ever seen in your life. Very almost Alex Jones looking. Where like you want to be like he's not in shape, but also like oh he's kind of in shape. So I like Blazy. Out of my three teams, I like the Grays of Glory pushing out Blazy for today's event because I feel like he is just going to accomplish that density equation best. It is 2 heats. I've been messing up these last videos. I've been talking about best of, etc. It's never that with the JELLE'S Marble Runs. It is the combined score of both heats. We're going to combine them, and whoever goes the farthest with those 2 combined heats is going to find themselves with the points in hand. And again, very important day for the winners. For the folks with the 8 and 9, just tread water and keep within striking distance for the last 2 events. For those 2 on the bottom, it's do or die.
I think it is absolutely fascinating that we chose the teams we chose with so little information, and you and I are neck and neck.
Yes.
Like we both have one of those bottom rung teams that needs to show up today, and then we both have 2 each of the 4 teams that are tied for first. And it really just goes to show. And we did we not even up the score in the last round? I'm looking.
If we add up all our scores together, you're 2 ahead of me in total points then.
2
in that regard. Yeah.
Oh, because the freshers is down to 4. Okay.
Yes.
Got you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm psyched, man. This is going to be a great round. I'm very excited to see the track. There's so much on the line. There's so much on the line today. Today, I think, defines, like you said, a completely different landscape going forward.
Yes.
So what would you say? Here, we'll do one last little prediction moment before this. What would you say would be the blowout? Would blow your mind if it took place? Like I'm going to guess that it's going to be a really strong freshers showing. Would just absolutely rock your world of blowing out expectations and changing the game for you?
That would blow my mind. A freshers performance would blow out my mind. For the top teams, for those 4 at the top, you can't run away right now, because at least one of these, if someone wins and the other 3 teams absolutely do horrible, they're only up by 4. And now you're only 1 event away from just evening up again. So those top 4 don't have like a lot to fear. But my most surprising thing would be seeing the freshers actually show up today. I am at a loss for words, because if it doesn't happen today, then I'm abandoning the ship. I am. If the freshers are for sale, if anyone wants them after today's event, if they don't come through, I'm selling my ownership.
Are you mostly upset because you chose them first?
Yeah, Rob, I am.
That they were your first draft pick?
Yes. And the semi skimmers were handed to me, and I was like, whatever. Right. They've already given me more glory and more hope.
Which is why my big fear today is a very poor showing from Team Purity. I chose them out the gate. They have not disappointed, even though I feel like they got fucked in the first round, or the first heat of last event.
Yes.
They got 2 finishers, strong showing out the gate, but because of the scoring system, I think we're underscored. They to be fair, they did have 2 fall off very early, but all the same, to have those 2 finishers with no deviation was very impressive, and then to not even break 200, I think, or something like that. It was low, but either way, to see them really just eat shit today would break my heart.
I don't see it. I don't see Purity not showing up. I really don't. I think them and Derry Dash were very good picks on your end, and I think that every event they're at least going to compete. I don't think they're going to lay an egg on anybody today.
Well, we'll see. Are you ready to roll, sir?
Yes, sir. Cravendale is filtered to save fresh for 7 days when open. That is the difference.
Okay. Good to know that now. Here we go. Oh, okay, cool. So it's kind of looks like a little railroad track, kind of, or almost like a roller coaster.
And there's no chance any of the marbles today exceed the 120.
It's never been done.
I haven't seen anything close to that in the time that I've seen the event been played.
We would question the marbles at that point.
Right. It's a very Sammy Sosa cork bat kind of suspicion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it is a steep drop. It is a steep drop. Whoa. It banged right into the end of the course, right?
Yes. There's a little rubber pad.
And it's good. The first one. It's the first hit.
It's the first hit.
Okay, 80.
Look at the goal line
idea.
Technology coming from Yelly's.
Amazing. And you know what I noticed in the last round that I'm seeing again are the little referee marbles on the side in black and white.
Yes.
There they are. Two refs at the top.
Yeah.
All right, Milk, out the gate. Let's see what's up. 80 is the distance to beat. No.
Oof. Yeah, I didn't see it on that one.
It looked short.
I agree. Damn.
But very close. Very close. Almost indistinguishable. Or are they going to be that close, all of them?
The event that I saw, it was pretty closely knit. You saw 1 or 2 outliers, but Jimmy is so scared right now.
Yeah, you can tell.
Ooh!
It seemed to skim. It seemed to really skim. Boom. Is that 85?
No, that's short of 80.
Was it? God, it's so hard to see. Wow.
I know.
0.1, dude. 0.1 above the milk.
Nuts.
That is tight.
I love the goal line technology coming from Yelly's, though. Just getting it right. Period.
Absolutely.
All right, here's your man 4 pint.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. I couldn't see. It's a little hard to see at first. We really need that replay.
Ooh.
Yeah, seemed to be off the curve a little there.
Maybe lost. Oh,
great.
Man.
Lost some distance on the turn.
Yeah.
There was clearly a spin. There was clearly a spin to the left. Beautiful section, though. Beautiful fan section for Derry Dash.
Roman doesn't know where he is.
Managing your energy output is extremely important. You want to give it all that you have in the first run, and you want to give it a moderate attempt and see what you have to beat as you head into the next round.
Did they
I don't know about
manage
Greg. Break than 80? No. Short.
They managed to be last so far, right?
Yes, they did.
So
they
fresh,
did.
so clean, so in last place.
They're going to start turning their backs soon, those marbles in the fan section.
I promise that's the last time I make that joke unless they do better. Because then it's just me. What do we got here? What do we got here?
Whoa.
Ooh, that's more competitive. That's far more competitive, as is expected from Grace of Glory. Wow. There we have a first round marble. Well, first place. That's good shape. That's good shape to be in.
That is really good shape.
And especially as you said, it's the combination of the two heats that puts them in a good position going forward to not have to overperform also on the second heat.
Right. There's a little more comfort in your run. And they're going last as well, so they may just have to do a little hop and they know they're in.
All right, boys. Let's pick it up.
Yes.
We're talking 83. We're talking 83.5.
83!
We're talking 83.5.
Could you imagine? Good.
That looked good to me.
I thought, yeah.
It looked
same.
solid. Cheer from the crowd, he says. Okay. Okay.
Where are we at with that, boys?
80.8. How about that?
Also past 80. It is an improvement.
80 plus on both runs.
Yeah, 161.1. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah, they're jazzed, those folks right there.
Absolutely. They can't be upset. All right, Michael. Maybe this is where he makes it up. Maybe this is where it happens.
A powerhouse of endurance and teamwork.
Pull the boys ahead. Not sure that it happened. Ooh. That looked like a 77. Yeah. Almost made 78, but...
Shoot.
That could really put us in tough shape.
They still got to support.
Yeah.
All right, Skims.
Coach Maurice, he's got to get those boys in shape.
Seemed to average that jump.
He really needed it. Not
Yeah.
bad. Not bad.
No, not bad.
78, 78.5. 77.5.
Golly. Shoot, man.
Also swayed. You know, the semi-skimmer's taking a hit. It does help me. It doesn't, you know, it does help the math. All right, boys. What do you got? Looked good to me. Hard to see.
Yeah, it looked good.
See.
This is quite the turning point in the event. We could look back on this moment right here is when things shifted. I can see you're getting quite nervous about the outcome.
Oh, 76? Bro, what?
That'll come back and bite.
More like
come back and
dairy
bite.
fresh. Jesus. Here is their chance. Here's their last chance to impress you in a major way. This 83 that they're about to do. That looked like a good
That
jump,
was
bro.
decent. Yeah, I mean, that wasn't... You didn't mail it in.
That was like 80.
Right.
79.5?
Yeah.
They were very rushed in their preparations to get ready for this
Said
Yeah, that's
team
not a
that
mail-in.
only existed for 8 months.
Yeah.
Training the Cravendale Cup.
That was 80, dude.
I know. It was decent,
That was
man.
great.
Very, very decent. Okay,
For
they're still
them?
supporting. Yeah.
For them, that was great.
Yeah. Now's bad experience, I'd say. Okay. I think Blaze is going to show out. I really do.
Back to the top now.
Need him to.
We go from
Ooh.
the newest team to the oldest.
Really seemed to
I know,
arc
really.
high. It looks like it arced high.
Yeah, it did.
Still a good hit, though.
Oof.
Still a good
Great
hit.
hit, dude.
Landing. Right there to see it. And it's directly in front of him.
Wow.
It's a little past 80.
Wow.
The 160 Club boys. Okay.
You got to
I
feel
think
good
that
about
gives-
that.
If that's both heats, then we know who won.
Top part of the standings.
Yeah. Oh, Grays of Glory took this event 100%
Grays of Glory took it.
with a nice clearance, if I'm not mistaken.
Whoa.
Yeah. And you got freshers in third, dude. They really showed up. Dairy Dash,
That is
surprisingly.
shocking to see them in third. But
Absolutely.
wow, Grays of Glory. Purity. Forever the bridesmaid, never the bride, but just stay alive, stay alive, stay alive. Wow, the one from the Dairy Dash.
Pure is back.
We're going to cut to your reaction after that.
Pure is back. Wow.
Wow. Okay. Quick event.
Shout out,
I
if
feel
we
like-
haven't said his name enough times, but though he can't be heard well in our videos, the great Greg Woods commentating
Yes.
on the Yelle's Marble Runs. He's tremendous.
Yes.
We learned so much about these teams and about these events through Greg's work, so thank you. Wow, what a video.
Great video. Greg has seen so much. Greg was able to bring insight as it pertained to the stadium atmosphere.
Yeah,
And to say that this is a dome, where in an open air stadium you might see a little more humidity and you might see a difference of atmosphere.
that's a really
So,
good point. You know,
he's
this
seen
is
a
not
lot
an
more.
outdoor event. You know, sometimes they do events. Their most famous viral event was a beach course, you
Yes.
know, which is going to be dramatically different than a situation like this, even though some sand was brought inside the dome.
Correct.
So, Pat, do you want to take it away as your comments on the results of Event 3, the long jump?
I would say that the closeness of scores, I did not anticipate it would be that close. I mean, you talk about a game of inches. That was, as you said, there was a run for Pure or Dairy Dash rather, where it seemed like they took a spin. They took maybe a cut at the wrong time and didn't send all the momentum forward. And that is the difference between medaling and finishing in last in this event specifically, because it really is centimeters of difference.
And you very specifically in the last video mentioned that Dairy Dash could afford to come in last in this event.
Yes, they were the leaders going in, and they see themselves the last place finish, but it doesn't kill them. They're still in that middle pack. We'll look at the standings as they currently are, but there's now kind of 3 subsets, and there's in that middle pack. They're not dead. They're certainly not winning, but their performance in the first 2 events lets them kind of lay an egg in this one, and it doesn't kill them. Shocked to see the freshers on the podium. I think they are as well, to be honest. They did not anticipate such a showing. And that's what it is, man. The long jump is just these close little things. I think freshers being so young, maybe they didn't know that they should be scared. They didn't know that they should have some fear about them going into it. They just sent it, finished with a bronze in the event, walk away with 4 points. Their total for the first 2 events they got in this one event today. Purity, again, I think that you don't have to show up every event and win. You just have to show up and get points. And Purity, to think that they are with 13 after 3 events and not one, finishing first in any one event, I think is really, really classy. And I think it's going to play later, because if you just keep finishing second, you're going to win the whole thing. Unless you have some Goliath ahead of you, consistency is going to win the thing. Milky Madness, pun intended, starting to get a little murky in terms of where they're at in their future plans. To keep finishing in the bottom half of the table every event. Why are we driving? Why are we showing up? Why are the fans there if we're not trying to win?
Right.
Semi skimmers, not very impressed with the fifth place finish, but I don't know what to expect from skimmers. I think I know they're inconsistent. For all I know, they could finish first in the next two events, and all of a sudden, they're back in the saddle.
A team of half measures.
A team of half measures. A team that sometimes wins and sometimes finishes in fifth, because you cannot semi-skim. There is skimming and there is no skimming. Your thoughts?
Well, I think, I agree and echo everything you said about team purity. They're consistent. They're a rebuilt team. I think that when it comes to events like this that are so varied, this is something of a near decathlon, but with 6. And it's, I'm not good enough at words to figure out what that one is. And I'm thinking that the way that they show up in every event in such a consistent way, like you said, is just going to bode well for them. I said it in the first event. I think I'm riding them all the way to the end. I think we have a really good shot at the cup. At this point, that confidence is not shaken. With Grays of Glory, I'm truly impressed. To see the vets show up like that and really take it back is inspiring, honestly, and it's good to kind of feel that's exactly the kind of competition that I want to see between my team and a valuable and impressive opponent that knows the games. So that really is a good deal for me. The freshers, I'm honestly impressed. I'm glad we got that moment before we started, that them really showing up today would be the big shocker for you. Of course, they didn't take it or anything like that, but to be on the podium, like you said, with the big boys.
Yeah.
Really with the big boys. This wasn't some random one-off where all of a sudden the worst teams were the best teams. Obviously, Milky Madness makes my point, but the freshers to get up there with the big dogs at all. I'm curious to see going forward. Was this a change in a new direction for them, where they're building a knowledge of the strategies and the needs for these courses that's going to take them forward in the future? Or was this some flash in the pan moment where they got lucky? That remains to be seen. Milky Madness, man, yeah, they weren't dead last, but they are now. And I have to say, they really needed to show up here in a more significant way, and I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that happen for them. Their chances now going forward are, I don't want to say they're completely dashed, but I do want to say that I fear for their future. Semi skimmers, like you said, they're the flip floppers. They're the half measures. Who's to say what they're going to do? It's almost impossible to guess. They might be the most wild card team we have. Even saying, including everything I just said about the freshers, the semi skimmers are still the most wild card we have. And Dairy Dash, I think we learned that weight and bringing too much to the table on an event that's really about distance, when it's not rolling, flinging distance, as it were. You don't put up your bulkiest marble, and I'm not to say that 4 pint was literally heavier, but maybe metaphorically.
He got that name for a reason.
Yeah, and
there's no way it's like a cool, good reason.
Absolutely. And so to put a heavy hitter up, understand, but it's like, if you just, okay, so here's my sports thing, right? I've seen a bunch of movies, so I can kind of talk about baseball. When you don't put up your fucking 250-pound heavy hitter first, right? You load the bases with the fast guys. And then you put up the big heavy hitter who all he's got to do is knock it out of the park and bring everybody home, right?
Yes.
Boom. So what we did in this event was put up our closer first in the wrong event. You know,
Right.
It wasn't the place for him, clearly.
You didn't agree with their approach.
Not now. I can't say I was, you know, we went into it thinking maybe it was going to work in their favor, but clearly, you know, and that's another thing, you know, we're getting to know these events in the Marble Olympics and within the league. Obviously, versions of these individual events will be repeated and reiterated in new places, in new ways, with new parameters. But we're just now, you and I, Pat, getting to know these events and how they're constructed, what needs to happen in order for the marbles to do well. You know, we're wrapping our brains around that. And in this series in particular, each event is so radically different that it's just going to take some getting used to and us digesting it.
I will echo your point about the freshers that this is it. This is either they relish that they were even in a picture with Grace and Glory and Team Purity, that they can hang on the wall, or they could put that away and focus on the next one and just keep head down rather than, you know, letting the wind get to their head. Grace of Glory, I failed to comment on them in the first part that I was speaking on. This event, the whole of the event is about endurance. And if we're saying that the old guys are winning these first 2 out of 3, that's great. But, you know, they're alive, and I guess they have as good a chance as any to keep going. But when we get into the dog days of event 5 and 6, I just don't know how those legs are going to hold up.
Right, you think there's a good chance they run out of gas on the tail end?
I think you show up, you know how to do these ones that you already know how to do, you're expert at them, but when we get long, when it's about the endurance, who will last longest? What are your thoughts on your standings and looking at your guys? I'm so impressed with Purity. I know that I'm at the top of the leaderboard, but my takeaway is Purity's doing it without, they're not flying under the radar, they're second, but they're not mincing any feathers. They haven't interacted with the Dutch and Duchess of
You keep calling them the Dutch and Duchess. I think it's Duke and Duchess, isn't it?
I apologize.
Can't go back and change what you said, but
Dutch and Duchess. It would be the Duke and Duchess.
Right.
ARLA Cravendale lasts longer 7 days after opening. Everything that I do, I get it involved. Cereal, post-workout, cereal. I'll put it, I just love it.
So good.
Thank you, man and woman in charge of Cravendale.
I don't know that they're in charge of anything. You know, they just could be, they could just be oligarchs who, you know, who royally, you know, kind of like figureheads. You know, they don't really have any sway. There's probably someone else pulling the levers. Or
I feel like that makes. There it is. I was gonna say that makes me think that they're more defensive of their titles, if they're actually just figureheads and not actually
it's all they
decision
have.
Makers. Yeah,
for sure.
I just call them the wrong thing.
Don't stress about it. We all do things, Pat. So, again, though, even though we had some mix-up, we are 1 point apart in our fantasy league.
Ooh. Go ahead, Rob. Yeah, we are. We're 1 point apart.
And we swapped. So I think you were 1 point ahead after event 1. I was 1 point ahead or 2 in event 2. And now you're 1 point ahead. We are neck and neck across this fantasy.
Yes.
Sir, despite the shuffle up amongst the teams in who's on top, we are still, of the 3 little subsections you mentioned, one of each, my friend, one of each.
My mind slipped on that, Rob, to remember that our fantasy league is going on, and ours is assuredly, I don't know how this event as a whole will break down, ours is assuredly coming down to the wire.
It is neck and neck, dude. It could still go any which way.
Right. there's a doomsday scenario where I'm ahead 1, and after the next event, I'm down by 10. There's nothing that says that doesn't happen.
You know, this statistical shit that you do is like chess. You instantly figure out all the different ways it could go.
Yeah.
And I am incapable of thinking that. It doesn't, there's not room in here for that shit. So I am significantly impressed by your ability to write it. There's a scenario where I'm 10 points, but how do you know that? We're just now looking at it. Jesus. You're like some kind of genius.
Simple
Fucking
simple
Marble
arithmetic,
Rain
my friend.
Man over here, dude.
Someone's got to be.
We're gonna
Someone's
start
gotta be.
hanging out in person. I'm just gonna start dropping marbles on the floor and see how fast it takes you to count them all.
I got an eye for it. You've made the mistake now of training my eye for rolling marbles. This little game you think you're playing? 2 steps ahead.
46.
Ha! I dropped 50. There's 4 in the box.
Yeah. I'm coming for you, Bernard. I'm coming for you. Grace of Glory. You're going down. You're going. You right there. It's you. Here. I'm pointing to you. I'm gonna make sure that this is pointing at you when I edit it, because I do the editing. This guy is going down. Fresh. The fuck out of here with your baby team.
I'm gonna rally the boys.
This is a little playful trash talk. You look hurt. You look significantly hurt.
I'm already thinking how I could fire back, but all right. Playful.
It really, you could tell it's the least sincere thing I've done on this show so far. I don't care. But I also want to win. It's both. It's somehow both.